everybody. This is Matthew.
And this is Nick from Plastic Tombstone.
And this is I Heard Something About That.
Our weekly podcast? We're going to try to do a weekly,
our
right?
Our weekly podcast where we pick each other's brain on pop culture items.
There you go. This week we're going to talk about Friday the 13th. The game got an announcement date.
Deadpool
got an announcement date. They rebooted Mystery Science Theater. And, the Nintendo's releasing a mini SNES. We can talk about that for a bit.
Talk about the new Bucky O'Hare figures that are coming out.
And we'll give you guys inside information about Braco the Gazer.
And a Dark Phoenix movie.
So there you go. A couple things to talk about this week. We kind of covered a lot last week, so.
Braco the Gazer rising like the Phoenix.
That's true. So what do you want to talk about first?
I don't know. Whatever floats your boat.
All right.
Little man.
Let's talk about video games because we didn't do that. We didn't do that a lot last week.
Okay.
Friday the 13th, the game, which me and you played a beta of on Steam, finally got a release date.
Yeah.
5/28. So
nice.
Next month. That's pretty cool.
Hope they get all the bugs and stuff worked out because what I played was pretty fun.
Yeah.
It was pretty buggy though.
Yeah, it was like mine was really laggy. Was the problem is I think I'm gonna enjoy playing it on an Xbox because not everybody has a super powered Steam machine.
Well, that and I kept getting stuck in walls and stuff.
Yeah.
I'd get stuck in random animations, but other than that, the game was really fun.
Yeah, it was a fun game. If you didn't play it, it's basically you get it with a group of friends or random people online, and it gives you a counselor, or some lucky person gets to be Jason, and Jason has sort of pseudo superpowers, and the campers have to set traps and hide from him and try to escape. So it's really fun. It was
pretty intense. It was actually pretty intense because when Jason gets near you, if you're one of the counselors, the music from the movie starts tensing up.
Yeah, and he can bust through walls, and he can always kind of see where people are, so you can hide, but it's not like a ridiculous hiding thing because if you're hiding in a house in a closet, he knows you're in that house at least.
Yeah, and he can cut the power and stuff. Just like in the movies, I'm just running around doing stuff, and all of a sudden the power goes out, and I'm like, oh god.
And it was fun, and the demo only had one map.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what the other maps are. Fingers crossed for a Jason X space level.
Of course. It's either going to be downloadable content or something.
Yeah, you have to have that, right?
Because the guys that are making it are totally using the whole 80s vibe and stuff. So they're really probably really into ridiculous things, and that's pretty fucking ridiculous.
So what do you think was the sequel that they decided, fuck it, let's just make it ridiculous? When did you think they just kind of, because the first one's pseudo serious, and then the second one is kind of the sequel to it, but then at what point does it sort of drop off where it's just I just want to see Jason kill people, let's make that happen?
I don't know. I think part 7, which had the psychic chick in it, kind of went off the deep end a little bit, but it was also one of the best ones.
Yeah, wasn't there a big battle at the end where she threw a bunch of nails at him and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely it was a cool idea. Try something different. You can't just make the same movie where Jason just kills everybody and that's it. Having a psychic chick kind of made even the odds a little bit.
Yeah. I mean,
my favorite's still Jason Takes Manhattan. I know that movie gets a lot of flack, but maybe it's just because of nostalgia or something, because it was one of the only ones I ever... it was probably the first one I ever saw, actually, was Jason Takes Manhattan.
Yeah, and you didn't... That's got to be a weird first one to see, too, because you're like, wait, what? Where is he? He's at the bottom of the sea, and he gets struck... Does he get struck by lightning because he's chained, and then he gets out?
When I was a kid, I kind of knew who Jason was, but I was scared to death to watch those movies, but that one was kind of tamer, I guess, so that was the first one I actually was able to sit through as a kid.
I think I had weird fears as a kid. Obviously, it doesn't bother me now, but I had fears of tiny things. Critters and Gremlins and Chucky.
Critters scared me too.
Anything that was small that I feel could potentially be under my bed. I knew Jason wasn't under my bed, but you could always have that notion of a critter could just roll out.
Yeah.
And then start. No, I mean, obviously it's not scary now, but
your blanket couldn't hang over the edge of the bed.
Yeah, because they would pull it off.
Yeah,
and then
your foot couldn't hang off the side because they might grab you.
I still might do that to this day. I still don't hang my feet off the edge of the bed, not for fear of actual critters under my bed, but
for fear of actual critters under your bed.
I recently watched Gremlins because it was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Still a funny movie. I never realized it's sort of a dark comedy is basically all it is, and there's a really weird scene. Remember that scene where she starts talking about her dead dad in the wall? You remember that?
It's been a long time since I watched
Anyway,
that.
It's just this jokey movie, and the tone shifts dramatically. You should watch it again. It's pseudo-serious, super jokey, pseudo-serious, super jokey. And then it goes really dark where she's like, I'll tell you why I hate Christmas, because my dad dressed up as Santa Claus and went down the chimney and he got stuck. And then we started smelling something and they pulled out my dead dad out of the chimney. I was like, what happened in this movie? Because the scene before was literally the gremlins in the bar smoking cigars, throwing darts at each other. And then all of a sudden it goes, you want to get depressed really fast? Here you go. It was really weird, just dramatic shit. And then they never talked about it again.
What about part 2? Where it just goes, that's a movie that goes off the deep end.
Oh my god, yeah, because they wanted to add all that crazy science experiment gremlins and stuff.
Yeah, like mutated gremlins and shit. Still an enjoyable movie though.
Yeah, I still like it.
It was one of those movies that didn't go into the safe zone.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan was in it, right?
Hulk Hogan was in it. Yeah,
that was like breaking the fourth wall, and that movie is so weird. But I still think it holds up. I still think, which I agree with, that the gremlins as a practical effect are still cool.
Anything with practical effects always has my respect, even if it's ridiculous looking. At least you tried.
Yeah, special effects are I think they're getting better, but they're not quite there yet. You know.
Yeah, I wish we would stop being computer generated everything. I'd like to see how the evolution of animatronics and things like that would look at this point.
I think it might be just that it's so expensive. You know.
I know, but fucking do it anyways.
Speaking of like effects, they released this week or last week, I can't remember. They released like Alien Covenant. A bunch of images from that. Did you see that neomorph thing that they got?
Yeah, like the whitish color.
Yeah,
one?
like this guy. He's like...
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing looks awesome. I can't tell if that's a practical effect or a CG effect, though. I mean, I can't imagine, but the original aliens were
all practical.
Were all practical. Yeah, in Aliens. Yeah. I always hated that they did that. There's Alien, and then you have to go... Zzz, Aliens, the James Cameron one. They were all practical. There wasn't like any CG in that, I don't think, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't think it existed in the 80s. But anyway...
And it was a better time for it.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they're getting better at it, but yeah,
they are. But it's just like if some movies, I feel like I'm watching a giant cutscene from a video game.
Yeah,
it gets so ridiculous.
But I think the ones that you like are the ones that aren't there. Like when Spider-Man's suit and Black Panther's suit and stuff in Civil War were kind of like they weren't there, but I knew Spider-Man's was. I had no concept that Black Panther's was.
Yeah.
It was just so well done. I guess you can't make a move like that, obviously, and they can't make it practical. But it was cool that my mind didn't go, there's a CG thing, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't like, oh, there's a big cartoon on screen.
And speaking of video games, Nintendo announced they're releasing, after they canceled abruptly the Nintendo Classic, they canceled it for no reason. They're like, we're not making any more. And they said in a press release, yeah, we were only going to do it for a little while, but demand was so high we did a second run, but now we're done. So now, after that news dropped, they dropped that they're working on an SNES Classic, which is supposed to have who knows how many games.
So the NES Classic is going to wind up being worth like $1 gazillion.
They're already selling it for gangbusters online.
Jesus.
You know, that's just
and now the SNES Classic, you know, that first run's going to be Scalper City.
Yep. And guess what? I mean, if you don't have those games, it was a cool concept. I wish it wasn't. I wish it didn't get bombarded by people who do that. You know. Because the people who might actually want that, you know?
Well, that and the fact that it wasn't expandable, like you couldn't, like, put new games into it, that kind of sucks.
Yeah. Nintendo's weird about that stuff, though. They take down YouTube videos and they take down other things just because, I don't know what their reasoning is, you know? Because people were giving Breath of the Wild, like, positive reviews, and Nintendo's like, please take this down. Like, why? I'm telling you your game is good.
I'm getting people to buy your game.
Yeah, there's this weird... Nintendo's weird about their properties. They don't like movies to have them, and I think it's maybe a little bit being gun-shy from Super Mario Brothers, how badly that...
Super Mario Brothers kind of has like a cult following now, though.
Oh, yeah, it definitely
does. It's a very weird movie.
It's bizarre. Like, I can't understand the choices that they made in that movie.
Well, the people who did, like, Max Headroom was the ones who directed it, so it's like they wanted to make, like, that kind of, like, cyberpunk, future-y type movie. I've read a lot of really interesting stories about some, like, the behind-the-scenes and kind of what happened on that movie set. It sounds like a train wreck.
Yeah, wasn't there a documentary about that?
I think there is, actually.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
Hey, that's...
There you go.
Trademark.
But yeah, I did hear something about there was a documentary about that. There's also a documentary about that Nicolas Cage failed Superman movie.
Yeah.
God, I need to watch those.
Me too.
I love failed movie documentaries. And speaking of that, have you ever watched the Netflix show Documentary Now?
No.
You should check it out. It's got Bill Hader and Fred Armisen from Saturday Night Live and Bill Hader from everything else. They just take a documentary style and they sort of put a spin on it, and they do music ones and old 50s salesmen's ones and stuff. It's pretty funny, and if you like documentaries and you've seen documentaries,
Yeah.
you'll appreciate like the idea of what like all the work that they put into it, because they get like old clip shows that make it look like it's a clip show from like a news clip from like the 70s, but it's not. You know, it's pretty funny.
Hey, speaking of Netflix stuff, we should since we don't really have a digging deeper segment this week, do we?
We do not.
So let's do a digging deeper segment on 13 Reasons Why, since you finished it.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to do that at the end, or you want to stick it here?
We can do it at the end, since we'll probably dig into it and do some spoilers and.
Okay, so yes, stick to that. I finished 13 Reasons Why this week, and we'll go over that and spoil it for you if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, go watch it. It's really good. One more video game thing. Somebody did a speed run 100% Breath of the Wild in 50 hours.
Jeez.
That's all the seeds, all the shrines, everything.
I couldn't even imagine. Like
You have to have like a system.
I'm so lost in that game at this point.
I'm 35% done, and I feel like I've been in it for over 100 hours easily.
Yeah, it's like I sit down and play it for a few hours every night, and it's just like I don't feel like I've accomplished half of anything.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Like it's not a bad thing. I enjoy it because it's easy for me to be like, oh, what's that over there, and like forget what I was trying to do.
Yeah. I do that all the time, and I can't even like wrap my head around all the seeds and stuff. So
Yeah.
It's just it's too daunting. I just play it for like 30, 40 minutes every day, and then right before bed.
Yeah.
Luckily, I got the Switch, and we take the Switch to bed. We play a little bit before we go to sleep.
Yeah.
Find a seed or two a day, and I'll be done in like 2 years. I guess we can talk about movie stuff.
Yeah.
Movie stuff. Deadpool got a release date. What was it? June of next year?
Yeah.
Summer movie. Summer
Finally.
blockbuster.
Finally getting an idea of when that's coming out.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about it last week, but Josh Brolin is Cable now.
Yeah. That's not too. It's a lot of people kind of been like upset about that, I guess. But I mean, the characters both of them look completely different.
Yeah.
Thanos and Cable are both completely different looking characters, so you're not able to tell.
Yeah,
it's not gonna make a big difference. He does look like he would make a good Cable.
Yeah, and if you're a good actor, you can sell that. It doesn't matter. You know, there's certain people who can't get away with that.
Right.
But like, let's not forget that Chris Evans was the Human Torch at one time, and now he's Captain America.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Reynolds was the Green Lantern.
And there you go. You take two. If you're a good enough actor and you can sell people on anything.
I guess a lot of people are like upset because it's if Fox ever does work with Marvel Studios, how they're gonna pull that off, which I mean should be easy. I mean, I don't think Cable's gonna be a continuing character forever.
Yeah, and also they put two people on the same screen, the same actor in sitcoms. I'm sure they can do it in a multi-million-dollar Marvel
Look at
movie.
Logan.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, did we ever talk about that? How that CG switched on Logan? How
Yeah,
like
I
that
think they
entire
did.
sequence where he's driving in the compound is not even him?
Yeah, we talked about that.
That's nuts.
I know.
I can't even like. That's the special effects that we want to see. Ones that don't make you think that it's a special.
Yeah, one
effect.
that doesn't go. Oh, well, that looks fake as
That looked
crap.
a little wrong, right? But anyway.
Yeah, really excited about Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean that little teaser before Logan was great.
Oh yeah, and Deadpool's one of those movies that, like it can make little teasers and crap like that has nothing to do with the movie, and it will still like feed the next movie.
Yeah. You don't have to show a bunch of things from the movie. You can just show him being Deadpool, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I'll go see that."
Yeah,
Perfect. Though they're making a Dark Phoenix movie.
I
don't know if that's the next X-Men movie or if it's. Did you ever see Apocalypse?
No.
Okay, so there's 3 franchises I will watch every movie for. It's Transformers, Resident Evil, and X-Men, just because I like watching them go off the rails and try to correct. Because every one of them tries to correct something they did wrong in the previous movie.
Right.
And it's just like, it's so funny to be like, oh yeah, we ended this movie like this. Let's just do this now. It's just like at the end of Transformers, they let the dinosaurs just go. I always annoyed the crap out of me. They were just like, thank you. Well, what's the Tyrannosaurus' name?
Oh, Grimlock.
Grimlock. Thank you, Grimlock. And he just lets him go, and the dinosaurs traipse off into who knows where. Thanks for destroying the city, and now I'm going to let you loose. Nobody knows where they went. Fucking Robot Dinosaur Island. And but anyway, I don't know. I saw X-Men Apocalypse. I can't say. There's a cool Quicksilver scene in it, but
Well, that's what happened in the last one, wasn't it?
yeah. Or Xavier's mansion explodes, and Quicksilver just saves everybody, and it's a funny, well played out scene. And then that's really all I can remember about it. Apocalypse was just trying to destroy Earth for some reason.
Well, the fact that they're making another X-Men related movie further shows that they're not willing to work with Marvel Studios, and the X-Men will never get rebooted and made better.
I mean, it's still it's not great. They're not great by any means. Obviously, Marvel has a leg up on DC and Fox in that department.
The only thing Fox has going for them is Deadpool.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Logan was good, but that's the end of that.
Yeah, but they're trying. You know, they're trying something different and, like, branching out to see what works and giving more to the fans what they want.
Well, we want them to work with Marvel Studios and reboot the X-Men.
Yeah. I mean, that would be cool, but they're still making money, though. They're not making Marvel money, but they're making money. I think Apocalypse was the lowest grossing one that they had.
Gee, I wonder why.
It was really weird. There was a weird Logan Wolverine cameo in there.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. It was kind of cool, but
about that.
It was kind of cool, but that and the Quicksilver thing, that's really all I can remember about it. Apocalypse wasn't really a very memorable villain. It was just like another I want to destroy the Earth villain.
Was there a large beam that goes up into the sky in this movie?
No, Magneto pulled all the metal from the ground and like surrounded the Earth. I don't know, some weird thing like that.
Wow, that sounds really dumb.
Yeah, he taught Magneto how to pull metal from the Earth. And so he was pulling and making it. He made him a giant pyramid. There you go. The whole point of the movie was Apocalypse was trying to get into Professor X so he could connect to everybody. Whoa. Wrong terminology there. He was trying to push his body. Oh, God. I can't even do it there. He was trying to transport his brain thoughts. There you go. Into Professor X so he could connect to all the mutants and control them, basically.
With his penis, right?
No, not with that.
Oh.
But anyway, it wasn't a great movie.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I mean, I can't remember. X-Men 2, still my favorite X-Men movie?
Yeah, that's the best of the worst.
Yeah. I mean, the Nightcrawler scene's still pretty good.
It was like the best turd out of the shit pile.
For those who don't know, Matt does not like the X-Men movies.
Nope.
Logan, I think, was his favorite.
Yeah, I did. I actually enjoyed Logan, and that's
because it stuck true to more source material than the other ones did.
Right, and it was a good story.
So, what else you want to talk about?
Bucky O'Hare's getting some new action figures.
Bucky O'Hare.
Bucky O'Hare.
I don't have any like fond memories of Bucky O'Hare.
I do actually. I had those toys. I really liked the toys, and they were made by. I think they were made by Playmates too. I think they were made by the same people who made the Ninja Turtles, I think.
What was Bucky O'Hare?
He was a space rabbit.
That's it? Just
the end.
Was he a space rabbit like football captain or a space
No, he's
rabbit?
just a space rabbit. He hung around like a group of he was basically like the Guardians of the Galaxy of rabbits.
But did he have like other rabbit friends or was he the only
He had I think there was like a cat. Jenny was a cat, I think, and then Dead-Eye Duck was like a four-armed duck.
Did he have a lazy eye, or was he a good shot?
No, he had an eye patch.
Oh, okay. So I was wrong on
both
both
then they had some like little kid that came in, Willie or something like that. They fought toads.
Willie? Was Willie just a boy?
Yeah, he dressed up like a gorilla to like dress. That sounds really weird, doesn't it?
I have no concept of Bucky O'Hare except for the name, so what you're telling me sounds insane. So you're telling me there's a space rabbit who hung out with a eye patch wearing duck and a cat, and they met and hung out with a little boy who dressed like a gorilla?
Yeah.
Why'd the little boy get to space?
He got teleporters. That's been a long time since I watched that show. It had an awesome theme song. I remember that.
Is it like Star-Lord style where he just got abducted into space, or is there a space orphanage somewhere where this kid escaped from?
No, I think he was like super smart. He may have built a portal. I don't remember.
Well, you have to like check into that and let me know next week about the plot of Bucky O'Hare.
Well, maybe you should just go on YouTube and watch the whole series. And
oh my God, how many is there?
I don't know, but just watch them. That if you ever played the arcade game, they had a really good arcade game. The NES game was really good.
I can't even remember what he looks like.
He's a green rabbit with like.
He's a green rabbit.
He's a green rabbit with like a red suit with like little tassels. It's almost like a Michael Jackson top. Hold on, I'll show you a picture.
Hang on, I'm gonna Google him here real quick.
Hold on, I've got it right here.
Oh, there he is. I had no concept that this is what he looked like. My image of him in my head was Usagi Yojimbo crossed with that ace duck. Like, I thought he was like a regular white rabbit with like a fighter pilot cap on.
No.
That's weird. So he's like a green rabbit.
Yeah, there he is.
He's like he's a green rabbit with a red and yellow suit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post an image of it on this video so people
That's
can
Ginny
see.
the cat.
That looks like a Bratz doll.
Surprisingly, Ginny was supposed to have been released in the original toy line as the second series, but it was canceled before that. So this will actually be the first Ginny figure ever made.
Do they have the kid as a gorilla figure?
Not yet. They did say they will
he
have.
He got canceled too.
No, well, he was in the first wave. Actually,
he was in
they
the
had
first
a
wave?
figure. No, he's not in this new wave.
Oh, man.
These are made by Boss Fight Studios, and the pre-orders for them will go live on June 1st. I'm guessing on their website. I don't see any.
Now, question, how much are they asking for these Bucky O'Hare figures?
I don't see a price on this news story. I'm going to assume probably $20 to $30 each because they are super articulated. They come with multiple heads, arms, and
How big are they?
4 inches.
Oh, my God. $20 for 4-inch figure?
But, I mean, they're highly detailed. They're not...
Yeah.
I mean, look, she comes with all of these extra little pieces. So
So they're like Figma figures almost.
yeah, pretty much. So they're really nice quality figures.
Well, that's cool. I don't know about the Bucky O'Hare. I have to watch Bucky O'Hare now. I just like...
I'll probably have to get them. I really liked that original figure when I was a kid. Like, it was one of my favorite toys I had. So
When was the last time you watched Bucky O'Hare? It was like a long time ago, right?
yeah, it was probably when VHSs were still relevant.
Oh, God. So it could be like the Thundercats when you thought you were going to like it and then you watch it and it was like
Ooh.
super awkward. Wasn't there like a really like a weird Thundercats episode about tripping on like mushrooms or something like that? Do you remember that? You told me about it.
When Tigra eats, what does he do? He eats some mushrooms or something. It's like Mumra becomes like this. I think he becomes this woman and tricks him into eating this fruit. It may have been fruit, and then like he's imagining like flying through the air, and he's like, oh. It's fucking ridiculous.
And was it like don't eat magic mushrooms at the end of it? Like it wasn't a weird anti-drug one?
I think so.
Because they all did that, right?
Don't take things from strangers. That
was it. Probably don't take things from strangers. So this is the kind of weird nerd stuff you get into with. I heard something about that. Just delve deep into the nostalgia of weird stuff we used to watch as a kid.
Hey man, that stuff was the best.
I mean, it was the best.
It was the best. I still
the
enjoy it. I don't know. Or something. I guess it's just nostalgia.
I did the same thing with the Turtles cartoon.
God, that turtle, that show does not hold up either.
I tried watching that, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is wrong with all these guys? They're all brain dead.
They're all the same character.
They're all the exact same character. All they care about is pizza. That's it. If
Shredder is not intimidating at all.
If Shredder has like a hostage and like Raphael has a pizza, they're like, well, let's go eat this pizza first. We'll save that hostage because pizza's amazing.
And they're all just like, oh, hey, oh.
Well, yeah, they made them like weird surfer dudes, which is such a departure from the source material.
And Shredder's just like a bumbling idiot.
Yeah,
like,
he can't do anything right.
It's like all the other incarnations of Shredder is like he's this badass ninja. No, this one he's just like, oh, Krang, and he's like falling downstairs.
Well, Shredder was just a weird Cobra Commander.
Yeah, pretty.
He just tried to make plots. He never fought the Turtles. He just had plots to get them killed. And that was it. And they never worked, and they always backfired on him. He was like, hey, instead of fighting these guys, which in every incarnation the Shredder beats everybody, he beats all 4 turtles at every time. But
this one,
he has to make new mutants that fail every week.
He slips on banana peels and shit like that.
Yeah, one of my favorite things was the weird alien ripoff episode, which was like the 3rd episode of the series.
With the pizza monsters?
Yeah, the pizza monsters that were like hatched on the eggs or whatever.
God, that show's fun to go back and watch all the mistakes that are in it. Though.
Like they changed the color bandanas.
Just like in the middle of them talking, and like the wrong color turtle will be talking with the wrong voice.
It's good.
Sometimes they'll be like out of scale.
You should have, if you get a chance to watch it or you own it, you know what we're talking about. There's like a whole collection of it, right, in the Turtle Van, every episode ever.
Yeah. Or there's also like a DVD of like the best episodes, like best fan voted episodes too. So there's one of the worst characters ever is in that show, and it's the Neutrinos, and I hate them. I hate the Neutrinos.
They're so terrible. They were worse than the Turtles, and the Turtles were already pretty bad.
I know. It's like making a fucking shit sandwich with the bread made of fucking vomit.
Well, if the Turtles were surfer dudes, it was like we're surfer dudes too times 2
from the future.
Yeah, it's like we have to be mega surfer dudes.
We're like the future of surfer dudes.
It was the worst. But anyway, down nostalgia road, that was a pretty good one.
Another cartoon that doesn't hold up was The New Adventures of He-Man.
The New Adventures?
Yeah, where he goes to space and he has pants.
When did that one come out?
The 90s when they tried to reboot He-Man, make him cool.
How many times did they try to reboot He-Man?
That's only the third time they've tried to reboot He-Man. Well, that was technically the second time. They've tried to reboot him 3 times as far as cartoons
He-Man,
go.
a barbarian with a sword, never punched anybody. He never fought anybody, did he?
Well, he did. In the first cartoon, it was, they were trying to find ways around the violence. So
Yeah.
he would like push stuff on people and like trip them and tie
Which
them up.
seems much more violent. If I have 2 kids and one of them punches them, I'm like, well, guys, stop that. If I have a kid who pushes a boulder down the stairs onto the other one, I'm like, wait a minute. He-Man did it.
He throws them in mud and stuff.
Okay.
He'll pick up the bad guys occasionally and throw them.
Then you get your kids throwing each other in pools.
Then they always land in like either like vines or like something soft or.
Oh man, I love that stuff. I love the way they tried to get away. They like tried to make violent things and not violent.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. Like I'm gonna go back on X-Men a little bit, but it's weird watching Logan because like I actually saw X-Men Apocalypse after I saw Logan, and he's pretty violent in that too. There's not a lot of blood spurting and limb removal, but he's full on stabbing people in that. So violence has come a long way since the first X-Men came out.
Yeah, that's true. The second one, I remember the second one, him being like, "Yeah, we're gonna let Wolverine loose," and like
he killed like 5 people.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
and you didn't really see it, But yeah,
Woo, he's crazy.
Nothing like what Logan did, obviously. But what else we got?
And on that same topic, isn't it crazy? Like we have like the most violent movies. We kind of let everything kind of go now.
Yeah.
But like we have like the most sensitive people. What happened to our generation? Our generation grew up on stuff like Marilyn Manson, and like being like really offensive, and just being like, "Fuck you, we're Generation X." Now, why are we suddenly like the crybaby generation?
Is that us though? Or is it the one below us?
Well, I think technically we count as that. I think they say like millennials are from like 35 to like 20 or something like that. So
I thought it was judged by the years you grew
I don't
up.
know. I think
I don't know what
I think
it
we
is.
fall into that though, from what I gather.
I don't think we're millennials though. I think we're Gen X. I think we're supposed to be anyway.
Yeah.
Because I think it's the time when you're a teenager, and we were teenagers in the 90s.
That's true. So
And
I mean, but what happened? Either way, what happened?
I think it's social media.
Yeah.
Not that I'm like blaming social media, because it's not social media's fault. Obviously, it's
just
people's fault.
Yeah, it's the people who kind of have used social media in all the wrong ways and become obsessed with it. And
Well, there was a Louis C.K. bit, which he's one of my favorite comedians, and he was on a show, and he was like, he thinks that social media is sort of ruining this generation because kids are mean. When you're a kid, you kind of call another kid fat, and you go, and you see the kid's face, and the kid has sort of a reaction to it, and he's like, oh, that didn't feel good to make somebody feel bad, because you get empathy for the kid. But now you just type "you're fat" on a chat room, a chat board, or Facebook post, and you just like, oh, that was cool, I'm gonna go do it again, because you don't see the kid's reaction.
yeah,
Which is a weird.
Well, it's like, speaking of fat, I've seen a few people like who take their kids to school and like they bring home papers with like, these are little kids learning like 3-letter words. So like they'll have like, like here's a picture of this. It's a box, BOX. Then they'll have like a picture of a fat guy. What's that? Fat, of course. But like these people are like, oh, my school's body shaming, teaching my kids to body shame. This is bullshit. And I'm like, fat's still a word.
Yeah, it's.
How do you just? I mean, if it was a skinny person, would you be so upset that like it said skinny?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, a fat person, that's just the way we describe them. It's a word.
Well, it's probably an animated fat person too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can't like. It's
like,
weird
what do you want the kid to say? Skinny to that fat guy? I mean,
yeah. Or I don't know.
You have to learn what the word fat is, and I'm sorry, but that's the definition of it.
Yeah.
It's not. They're not learning body shaming. It's just they're fucking like 2 or 5 years old. They're learning.
Yeah, and there's a lot of that going around, but that's part of the problem. Is like there's no empathy for anybody anymore. Like, people don't feel for anybody. People just want to say what they want to say.
South Park, man, they nail it every time, like the PC principle and all that. South Park, like, I know we're going down another hole here, but
Let's go.
South Park, they really shine like a mirror on society. But the people who know are the only people watching it. Like the people who are aware of it are the only people who watch that show. Like the people who are unaware don't pay any attention to it. So
yeah.
It's kind of like when Penn and Teller did their bullshit show. It's like, it was a lot of awesome information for people, but the people like us who were kind of already figured that stuff out were the only people watching it. You couldn't like get new people to watch it and actually learn something.
Yeah.
South Park's kind of the same way. Like, it's like
And South Park didn't used to be like that.
No,
But I think they grew up as writers and they wanted to talk more about. Even Book of Mormon.
yeah.
It was comedy and it was raunchy, but it had a message that it's not about specifics of what a book says. It's about following the ideas of the book.
Right.
And if the book makes you a better person, doesn't matter what it says, just be a better person. And they wrap that up in comedy. But a lot of people mistake that for just them being raunchy, and it's not really. I mean, I think they're way more clever.
I do too.
Yeah, than people give them credit for.
Like I said, I think they shine a mirror on society that most the society obviously doesn't get to see, but that's just the way they are. People are kind of oblivious.
Speaking of oblivious, you showed me something last week
What?
that I don't understand. You showed me Braco the Gazer.
You don't understand.
I don't understand it.
Are you not healed at this point?
No, I'm not healed at this point.
Oh.
Tell everybody what Braco the Gazer is. Please, explain it to me. Again, because I still don't understand
It's
it.
a guy who comes out on a stage and stares at people, and it heals them.
Yep.
The end. He stares at them. That's his job. He stares at people.
So look it up. It's called Braco. He doesn't say a word. He just He does a show. People pay $10 a head. He comes out for 10 minutes, and he stares at them while his face is on a screen, and people start weeping and seeing psychedelic things, some of them are saying.
Oh, God.
And he does 10 shows a day.
He also does live streams.
So
if you can't make it out to wherever he's at, California or wherever, then you can just live stream with him and have him stare at
And you can feel better about yourself.
I mean,
it's weird. Why does that's somebody who's just
that's just going to show you that people will believe any fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, some people just want answers, and I understand that, but it's like
Some people just want something to believe in, and
yeah.
a guy standing on a stage staring at you apparently works for some people.
I mean, it's super funny. I think it's hilarious because me and Matt have been Braco gazing at each other for the past week. And it's not as easy. Okay, to give him credit, it's not as easy as it sounds because he has this like it's almost like a sad like.
It's like fucking like Yanni music.
Yeah, it's like sad Yanni music, but he also looks like he knows all the puppies in the world. Like he has this like really happy look on his face, and he's just kind of looking at you.
No,
and
he
you're
looks
kind of
sad too.
He does look kind of sad, but then he also
He
starts
looks like
to
all those
smile
puppies
a
were
bit.
killed.
Oh God, Braco the Gazer has a tragic past.
He looks like he should be in a fucking power metal band. What he looks like.
Yeah, he has long like blonde hair, and he has these crazy eyebrows, and he just looks at you like. Sensitively, I think it's the best term I can think of.
It's just sensitive staring.
Yeah, that's all it is.
So yeah, anybody who wants to go look that up and go check that out. It's ridiculous.
Braco the Gazer, Braco. Let us know what you think about Braco.
Braco.me is his website.
Oh my God, he has a website. He has like a gold house too. I can talk about Braco all day because you showed that to me and I watched like 5 videos and it was like the same thing every time, but people talking about like I started crying and one guy said he saw like the Northern Lights. I think what's going on? It's like rainbows started, like everything's melted around me. I'm like, did Braco give you acid and then come stare at you? Because that's what it sounds like.
Maybe he's spraying something in the air in that room or something.
It might be some sort of like chemical warfare going on. You and me like Mystery Science Theater, right?
Yeah.
So apparently they rebooted it on Netflix.
Yeah. Actually, I went week before last and seen Samurai Cop, the live riff tracks.
Riff tracks, man, they got it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's the same guys doing the robot voices from that. So
no, it's not.
It's not. I thought they were in it.
No, it's new robot voices. I believe it's new robot voices. At least it sounded like it to me.
Oh, well,
and a new guy.
They were advertising like the show with the riff tracks thing, but maybe I don't know.
I don't know. They sounded different to me. They might sound older now, or they might have.
I'll have to watch it and see.
Yeah,
because I thought they were in it.
Because I mean,
but I might be wrong.
Yeah. Anyway,
which would suck because they're actually the funniest parts of the
yeah.
show. The original show, they were the funniest too.
Yeah, the original show's a little weird. We started watching it. It felt like it was trying to be like cheesy like the old one, but the old one was kind of cheesy because of the time.
Yeah.
And sort of the setting, but it almost sounded like it was. To me, the first episode felt like it was trying a little too hard to be like that old style, you know, like remember this, and they throw a bunch of like nerdy people in there, like Will Wheaton and all these other like it has all these like I guess for the lack of a better word, nerd culture people, you know, in there as like guest stars and stuff like that. So
that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, once they get to the meat of the movie part, it works all right. But what ended up happening was not a knock to the show because I hear it's good. once you get into it and if you get used to the new voices and stuff. But we just ended up watching the original Mystery Science Theater. And what was it? Manos, the Hand of Fate.
Manos, the Hand of Fate, yeah.
Yeah, that was the one we ended up watching. It's so funny. But it's still a good show, and they're obviously doing riff tracks now, which is just...
Yeah, riff tracks are great. So if you ever get a chance to go watch the live ones, even in just a theater to watch it, it's awesome.
And they're awesome, man. They're, like, so quick.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I noticed a little bit about the new one as opposed to the old one.
Well, when they do the riff tracks live, they do have all their stuff, like, written down. You can you can watch them and see, like, what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's still good jokes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to knock it. I'm probably going to watch it.
Yeah, I'll sit down and watch it. But that kind of turned... I did see, like, Patton Oswalt was in it, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I kind of don't like the fact that there's, like, all these kind of bigger names in it. Like, the old show was kind of built around people who nobody had really heard of.
It felt, for lack of a better word, Big Bang-like almost to me. Not like the humor, but like the get it, this person's here. Get it, this person's here.
Get it, nerd. Get it, you're a nerd.
And I don't know if it's necessarily that or if people like that are just fans of the show. You know? That might just want it to be part of it. There's a lot of that in Star Wars too. There's like Daniel Craig was in the new Star Wars movie, but he was just the voice of a stormtrooper because he was there and he asked, "Can I be in it?" And he was just one of the characters, and it didn't feel like shoehorned in like they were doing it on see he's here.
Right.
They hit him, he just wanted to be a part of it. So that may be what it is. I haven't watched the whole thing, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because Riff Tracks Twilight's one of my favorite things ever.
Oh, yeah.
God, those are funny. It's the only way I've ever seen Twilight was through Riff Tracks.
Yeah.
But
we went and seen the Riff Tracks live of Samurai Cop and The Room. They were both... The Room had me, like, crying. I was laughing so hard.
God, The Room. The Room by itself is just a ridiculous, ridiculous movie. I'm sad Sharknado did it. But, like, Sharknado, like, went overboard on it. They were like, because the first one, I watched it, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was so funny because I felt like they were trying.
Yeah, and then they went like, oh, by the way, look how bad our movie is. Look how...
It's like, don't do it like that because that's not how it works. It's like if they made Troll 3 and they tried to make it bad again. A bad movie is an art among itself, you can't recreate it.
Yeah, you can't replicate that.
You just have to, like, let it happen and let it be weird and just, like, not try to, like, do that weird thing where everybody tries to cash in on it. Because I didn't watch any of the Sharknadoes after the first one because I saw what it was doing, throwing celebrity cameos in there and all that other stuff, and that's not what the original one was. The original one was really weird because I just remember watching it. There's a storm on the beach that's washing sharks up, and then they cut to B-roll footage, and the beach is calm.
Yeah.
And then they show the footage again, and it's like a raging storm, and then cut to the beach footage, and it's calm. And I was like, what is going on? Did nobody, like...
I got a bad movie for you that you need to watch.
What's that?
Birdemic.
Birdemic. Is that about a bird pandemic?
Kinda. It's something. It's something.
Can you not even tell me about it?
Not really.
We need to find out what the rule is on doing our own sort of riff track thing on movies.
Well,
royalties.
What Riff Tracks does is you buy the audio file and then you play it in sync with your movie.
Gotcha. So we can find a movie, do it, and then release the audio file on our site.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way to do it. Because we need to do that for Beastmaster 2. Matt's favorite movie is Beastmaster 2.
That's a good movie.
Is it?
I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've seen that movie.
The term Beastmaster sounds way more menacing than what I get when I look up Beastmaster. It's a guy hanging out with two ferrets.
Yeah, he was the master of beasts, and beasts are ferrets, and like a hawk.
I think it's because ferrets were easier to train in the 80s. Or is that the 90s?
The 80s into the 90s, I believe.
Is that all we got? I think that's all we got. You got anything else?
No.
So, anyway, that's our basic podcast. A little bit of ramblings and good times. We heard something about that. We're about to get into our digging deeper segment about 13 reasons why.
Yeah, if you don't want to have any spoilers for that show, if you haven't watched it yet, don't listen beyond this point. Then if you're curious about the show, check it out. It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's really good. It definitely shines a light on, again, what we were talking about, social media and how people like treat each other and stuff.
Yeah, and kind of bullying and...
Yeah. So, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's jump in.
So, I finished it last weekend. I think I finished it Saturday.
Did you get as hooked as we did, where you're just like, oh, I got to watch
I think we watched the whole thing in 3 days.
Nice. I think we kind of did, too. It just spread out.
Yeah, we watched the first 2 episodes, and then we watched 3 through, like, 10 one day, and then we watched the last 3 on the last day. So, I was really hooked on it, because I really just wanted to know like, because they kept hinting. They did something that I really like in series is they keep dropping hints that you want to know about.
Right.
And you are like, the whole purpose is a girl named Hannah Baker kills herself, and she releases these tapes to all the people who made her,
We're responsible.
or who she feels were responsible for what happened to her and what they could have done, and sort of her own version of a suicide note, essentially. And Clay is the one we follow, and he had a crush on her, and he always seemed like he was nice to her, but they kept hinting throughout the entire thing
That he had done something.
That he had done something, and he couldn't remember what it was, and I was like, how are they going to do this? Because if he did something terrible, he would obviously remember that. And if he did something...
Yeah, I kept waiting. I kept being like, oh, he's going to be like the worst. So they're making you feel sympathetic for this guy all the way through the series, and you're going to find out like he raped her and her dog or something.
Yeah, something crazy like that. But it ended up, they nailed it. Because basically what ended up happening was he didn't stay when he felt he should have. And he felt like it was his responsibility because everything that happened to her after he left her after she kind of had a panic attack.
What I mean, I kind of don't. I don't feel sorry for her, but I don't think she should have left him with like that burden. Like,
yeah,
like she's the one who freaked out. Like,
yeah,
if I was in that position, I would have done the same thing he did. Like, okay, well, see ya.
Yeah,
you're freaking out.
And I think the show does a good job of not pointing the light at anybody. She says in that tape, which is like tape 11, I believe.
Yeah.
That this was all on me. She said it. She didn't say this is your fault. She blamed herself.
Yeah, but he still
felt that
he could have done something.
But that's the whole point of the series is that it's suicide. For one, they don't shy away from a lot of stuff in that.
Yeah.
They make you watch a lot of it.
They make you watch the rape. They make you watch the slitting of the wrist.
Yeah.
And it's not like in a gratuitous way either. It's in a way that makes you feel something, which
and
I totally agree with.
Yeah. Part of the reason it does that is to show that it's not a glamorous thing what she did, and she left a lot of heartache in her wake. But people also hurt her in ways that they didn't even realize. For a couple of them, it was just a passing thing that they did.
Yeah.
But it's a snowball effect, which is what happens with a lot of younger people, and that's your life and that's your reputation. And if it snowballs and one person does this thing because this person did that, and then all of a sudden you feel buried. And that was the whole point, is just you don't know what somebody's going through.
Right.
Just try to, like, treat them with respect.
But to me, it's like you don't know what somebody's going through, but it's the same thing for her. She didn't know what everybody else was going through.
It's true.
So,
and I think they do a good job of showing that, because a lot of people were hurt for what she did. But I do feel like a lot more happened to her than happened to everybody else. But again...
But we also didn't follow everybody else like we did her.
Yeah, it's true. And they did a good job of making not everybody that was not her an enemy.
Yeah.
Because a couple of them were, what was it, Cheryl, the cheerleader girl that knocked over the sign?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they left her kind of, she was nice, and she was trying to make amends, and she was, I mean, you're a kid. Like, we're 30. We're 33, 34. That's how, I mean, we're old. We know what it's like to be adults, and we know that the way people talk is just the way people talk.
It definitely takes you back to a time when things like that were your life.
Yeah, like when you thought you were always going to be sad, or you were always going to be mad at something. It's like,
yeah.
I remember thinking, like, I'm always going to be mad at that guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't hold those grudges. I don't hold those sadnesses anymore, because you're an adult and you realize that there are people in the world who are going to care about you and stuff like that. You just have to get past that. And part of this situation with this, what we were talking about is social media and stuff, is people don't realize what they're doing.
Right. But in the same vein, I think that if you're having problems like that, don't be so vague about it and actually ask for help for somebody. Yeah. Like what she did to Clay, like she could have easily been like, sorry, I freaked out the other night. I love you or whatever. But
yeah, I know what you mean. And I think what they were trying to do, at least what I got from it, was every time she reached out to somebody to try to help them, something worse happened to her.
Yeah, but it's like she never like really fully asked for help. Like she still did like kind of vague crap, and it's like, yeah, that's aggravating. It's like
definitely. I think that was her point too, is ask for help.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you have that and you're a kid, talk to somebody. There's always somebody who's going to listen.
Yeah, there's always going to be help. I mean, suicide is selfish, and
it is.
And I don't feel sorry for anybody who commits suicide, because I think you leave behind way too much for so many people that
you don't know what other people are feeling,
and you don't get the right to take your life away. I have to live through this shitty life. You do too.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah, and just
toughen up.
I mean, I don't know. We were in high school, and what we do now, and what is considered normal, Star Wars and X-Men and Marvel comics, that was not considered cool when we were in high school.
No, not at all.
And if you liked those things, or were like me who brought action figures to school, people made fun of you.
Yeah.
And it's,
Luckily I was always kind of a nerdy guy, but luckily for me, I was very intimidating looking.
Yeah.
So I remember quite a few times, like, people would be like, Sean Johnson was not.
Shout out to Sean Johnson.
Shout out to Sean Johnson. I can remember a couple of the more jockey guys like picking on him in the hallway, and I just had to come up and like stare at him to get him to go away,
Yeah,
because like, he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, Matthew looked like the Undertaker when we were in high school.
So
can I tell that story about you and the Undertaker?
Yeah, if you want to.
Okay, so Matt likes wrestling, loved wrestling as in high school, and there was always this really funny story that cracks me up to this day. Was let's just call her Jenny. So Matt liked her, and Matt liked the Undertaker at this time. This is mid-90s, right?
Yeah.
And middle school, right?
Middle school, yeah.
So Matt,
I was in 8th grade.
So Matt calls her up on the phone, her home phone, because cell phones didn't exist when we were in high school. Called her up on home phone.
I don't know how I got her number either. I don't remember that. But.
So, for one, he plays the Undertaker's theme song in the background, which is boom, boom.
It's fucking funeral music.
It's funeral music. And for one, she's not the one who answers. It's her dad or mom or something. And he goes, "Is Jenny there?" as his best Undertaker voice. And then she cuts the phone. He goes, "Jenny, will you go out with me?" And she said, "No." And he said, "Okay, bye." And he hung up the phone. And that was the end of it. But for some reason, I can imagine you doing that. And I'm sure it was, I don't know if it was traumatic at the time, but it's so funny to think about.
Well, I definitely didn't think about killing myself.
It's true. But it was just like, that stuff happens, and
I thought it would be so cool, man. I thought the Undertaker was the coolest thing in the world to me. So I thought
he was cool to everybody.
Yeah. So everybody.
Didn't you do another one when you were really young? I'm sorry, I'm going on a Matt tangent stories here. But did you do another one where you were really young, where some neighbor girl didn't like you and you sung Bon Jovi in the parking lot or in the driveway while you shot basketball?
Yeah. Next door, she lived. I can't remember. Lori, I think was her name.
Something like that.
And she lived next door to my step uncle at the time, so like I would hang out with her, and then I asked her out, and she said no. So the next morning, I stood outside her window because the basketball goal was next to her window, and I sang "Shot Through the Heart" by Bon Jovi while playing basketball.
So there's a little insight into Matt.
That was very romantic.
You were a very romantic man, but that's what we're talking about. Is like it's things that seem traumatic as a kid, or things that seem
at
like
the time
sad.
that was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's sad, but like as you get older, it becomes less and less important, and you definitely.
And then you also realize you're probably better off at that point because those people grow up to become fucking
the
assholes.
worst. Yeah, and you'll find somebody. I didn't find my somebody till I was 30 years old, but it works, and when you find the right person, that's what it's all about. And
that's right.
You just have to kind of wade through the shit first, and high school is kind of shit.
Life is a series of failed relationships.
That's true. And I don't know. It was a really good show, and I think it's important for not just us to watch it, because like we said, we didn't have that reaction to it. A lot of us were like, it's not that big a deal. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But you're not a kid, and it's the world to you is high school. So I think it's definitely important for the younger generation to watch that. And
it's also important. It is kind of important for the adults to see it, though, to see how kids kind of do that in school. Like
they might be vague, and they might not.
Well, that and just like the kind of the true bullying that does go on in school, like the cliques and stuff that mess with those kids. Like you said, when we were kids, the things that are cool now weren't cool.
Yep.
And we were picked on and made fun of, and that still happens. Maybe not to the same thing that we were picked on for, but there's still kids that are picked on.
It's true. And yeah, I definitely think it's an important show for people to watch, and
definitely an open-ended show too. It looks like I'm assuming there'll be a second season.
That's my one complaint about it. There was a lot of open threads left.
Well, I think that they left it open for another season, which is good.
I mean, I hope they can capture the mystery, because part of the reason I like the show so much was because of it kept me guessing. I kept wanting to know who the other ones were, and all that stuff. So I'm interested to see how they do that next round.
Yeah.
Next go around, because sometimes season 2s don't work the same.
Sure. I mean, this one does look like it's gonna be a Columbine incident.
Yeah, which I'm very happy. I'm happy with the way it ended, because even though it did end on an open thing, it finished Clay's story at least as much as it could, and that's who you're following. So that's important to tie that thread up. It wasn't like the last scene goes and it was like, welcome to your tape, Clay, and then you didn't get to hear what happened. Well,
we still, the next season too, we'll probably delve into more of what happened with the court and the school.
Yeah.
Because we never got any kind of conclusion on any of that.
Yeah, the parents got the tapes at the end, and one of the kids who was having problems, who felt like he was part of what got her killed or why she killed herself, he shot himself in the head, was in critical condition. And the creepy stalker yearbook kid, he had a tote full of guns.
Yeah.
And I think the girl confessed to the cops, and they didn't talk about that.
Yeah, so there's a lot that they left open for the next one. So
yeah, so
we'll see how it goes.
It was a very good show. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
And it's very bingeable. You'll go through it pretty quick.
It's good. I mean, it's definitely, it'll get you hooked.
Well, that's about all we got for this week, huh?
Yeah, that's it.
So check out Plastic Tombstone on YouTube. We're trying to get them 500 subscribers so we can be /Plastic Tombstone. So help us out with that. But we got NECA Raphael video up now. Yeah, well, go in there and look it up when we do mystery boxes, figure reviews, video game stuff. Yeah, we're working on some video game stuff. I got a couple things to talk to you about after this. Oh. And after this podcast, we're opening Loot Crate, which just came today. Nice. So we're going to check that out. And follow us on all social media, Twitter, Facebook. Working on the website now, so an actual website. So look at us. Moving on up. Moving on up, man. But thanks for listening. Yeah. And until next time, stay groovy.